The internet is a big dumpster.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my asshole, bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. Oh, I just can't understand it. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. I don't wanna hear it. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. White Beater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like cats ready to go. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public dominant. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. I don't wanna hear it. Read into the lyrics. So let the fucking spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Also simulcasting other places that probably don't matter. Just kidding. Actually, we just got monetized on YouTube, so that's great. I get a bunch of emails from YouTube telling me about how my content can't be monetized. Fucking fantastic. Anyway, this is listener and viewer supported programming. Speaking of monetization, you just go to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the homepage and, find your favorite way to kick us a few bucks, or I don't know, if you don't have any money, or if you just are like, I'm not giving that guy any money, tell a friend about the show. That's fine. I'm producer Dave, your host. As always, you can find me on Grindr, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crack, echo pop is the sound of a taser. Your buddy drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Thank your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head to show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
All right. Well, this week we start off with a bad story about the cops.
The ex-SAPD officer accused of putting feces in a sandwich and then giving it to a homeless person is back in uniform. Matthew Luckhurst was suspended from the department in 2016 for 2 separate accusations involving fecal matter.
Tonight, KENS 5 reporter Meredith Haas is looking into this latest job. And Meredith, who has hired him?
Well, Matthew Luckhurst is currently an officer with the Benavides Police Department. Records show he's been employed there since April of 2023, and the department says this hiring demonstrates their commitment to offering individuals a second chance.
Excuse you.
Department of Benavides sharing this statement with KENS 5 in part, quote, Officer Luckhurst has consistently maintained that the allegations against him during his time with the San Antonio Police Department, specifically the incident involving a homeless man, are untrue. An arbitrator ruled in favor of reinstating his employment. That history includes being accused of putting fecal matter in a sandwich for the homeless, and in a separate incident, wiping brown feces-like substances on a toilet in the only female restroom at Bike Patrol in 2016. His attorney providing this defense.
Someone made a joke. It gets repeated.
Luckhurst faced 2 indefinite suspensions
That was the defense?
from SAPD and was reinstated in 2019 due to a technicality. In 2020, an arbitration hearing was held. McManus on record regarding the acts.
This is probably one of the most disgusting, vile, repulsive things that anybody's ever done.
In 2020, records show the Floresville Police Department hired the former SAPD officer, and 2 years later, he was released from the force over the accusations. Today, Luckhurst is an officer with the Benavides Police Department since 2023. The Texas Commission on Law Enforcement told me they're looking into the hiring procedures of the department to ensure Mr. Luckhurst was instated properly. They cited new hiring processes that will be put into play come June of this year. The Benavides Police Department also saying this tonight. Despite past allegations, Officer Luckhurst's record since joining the department in April 2023 has been exemplary, with no complaints or issues reported. A thorough background check was conducted before he was sworn in as a peace officer, ensuring that all all aspects of his story were carefully considered.
Benavides Police Department also says they hope his personal development will positively impact the community he serves.
Yo, like people without a place to stay get, I guess, like a shit sandwich from our society most of the time, but I didn't mean like it's not supposed to be literal. I don't think that doesn't sound like a fucking thing that someone would make up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty specific to be made up. Now, I don't know. You know, it was alleged that the cop gave someone a shit sandwich, and then spread fucking what appeared to be shit all over the inside, or allegedly spread what appeared to be shit all over the inside of like the only woman's bathroom in some location. I mean, I don't know. Fucking Officer of the Year, I suppose. This is America after all. Anyway, the docket gets funner later, I promise. This is, did you know that the people of Greenland would love to be an American state?
What's the price tag?
Well, maybe no price tag. You know, look, we're going to have to see what happens because Denmark, we need this for national security. We need Greenland very badly. You look at the Russian ships, the China ships, they're all over the place. They're surrounding. Now they have
the ships are just shipping things all over the place.
Long time. That's a lane. But we need that for national security. So I don't know that Denmark has any right, title, and interest, and we're going to find that. But I can tell you, you saw the clips that were released. The people of Greenland would love to become a state of the United States of America. We were greeted with tremendous love and affection and respect. The people would like to be a part of the United States.
What the fuck?
Now, Denmark maybe doesn't like it, but then we can't be too happy with Denmark, and maybe things have to happen with respect to Denmark having to do with tariffs. Because they have to do this, I think, for the free world. We need that to protect the free world. It's very important.
For the sake of the free world, you need to let us just annex part of your fucking territory. Just, because we want it, because the China ships. Like, we can't, we could, but like, we can't. Like, let's not. With some expert analysis of the potential purchase or fucking invasion or annexation or whatever of Greenland is goddamn Faucets the 5. Because you know what? If you want expert analysis of world affairs, you turn to this fucking group of jokers.
It actually is not the first time this has happened. They're calling the president-elect bananas and crazy for coming up with this idea. But by the way, this is not the first time that America has tried to buy Greenland. Back in 1867, Democratic President Harry Truman tried to buy Greenland.
Harry Truman wasn't the president in 1867.
For $100 million, which would be about $1 billion. In our day and age, $1 billion. Didn't happen. Obviously, still very important. And as you mentioned, Jesse, has a lot of minerals. Very important for our country. I think the president may be onto something.
Yo, no. Okay, so check this out. Harry Truman was the president from 1945 to 1953. You're off by like 100 years, lady. Fucking the 5, dude. We used to do this show, this particular show, it was a panel. There'd literally be 5 people on it, and all 5 of us are way cooler and way fucking smarter than the 5 people that are on Faucets the 5, which I later found out doesn't even have anything to do with the fact that there's 5 people there. I think it's because it's on at 5 o'clock, which, all right, whatever. CNN also had a panel about buying Greenland, and unfortunately, someone who probably should have been on Faucets the 5, or maybe gone to like the fucking media outlet The Hill to get their brains sucked out of their head, was talking about Greenland.
Says, what he means, what he's really going to do. I mean, even the fact that Don Jr. is going to Greenland.
I want to talk about Greenland, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody would like to buy Greenland, but are we going to take it by force?
Everybody wants to wait. Since when? Like, I think she making fun of him, sort of. I think she making, like, look on Van Jones's face. Even fucking, is that S.E. Cupp or Kennedy? I keep getting them confused. I think it's S.E. Cupp. Even S.E. Cupp is laughing at this motherfucker before he really even said anything.
Not that many people there, but I don't think we should have to. And here's why we should want it. They got rare earth minerals. We already have some kind of a space base there, and it would fortify us against the Russians.
A space base would be in space, sir. Greenland is on the Earth.
How?
I mean, Trump's a wheeler dealer. Make an offer to the Denmark and see what they have to say.
How much are we willing to pay?
I don't know. How much could it possibly? People poo-pooed buying Alaska, and it turned out fine.
Look,
they called it Seward's folly. They were mad about it then, and look what it's great. We got all the.
So now we're gonna just hand over a big old check to Denmark.
Lady, it's not about the money. It's about the fucking the incoming president saying, well, we're going to buy Greenland, or maybe we have to do something else to get it. Like, yikes. Like, the something else seems like a threat to declare war on fucking Denmark. Like, come on, dude. Come the fuck on. So here's Trump issues a warning regarding the situation in Gaza. I'm not sure how it could get worse, but let me tell you, if there's a man on this planet who can make that situation worse, it's this guy.
Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will
Before
be
I
paid,
take office.
that all hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well,
do I have to define it for you? Look, all
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If
what-
those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Can you elaborate?
And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out.
I'm going to make a decision about a conflict somewhere else in the world, and the decision I make, it won't be good for anyone. That's a great promise, dude. Fantastic. You know what I'm going to do? First thing I'm going to do? Everyone involved is going to think that I made the wrong decision. You fucking dumb fuck. I mean, we all kind of know what he means, right? The U.S. might start fucking carpet bombing places that have already been carpet bombed or something. We all know what he means. He means violence. He means an increase, an escalation in the senseless violence that's going on there. Did you know that if Donald Trump does it, it's just automatically ethical?
You think it's appropriate for Trump to be speaking with someone who will actually be deciding a case against him?
I do think it's appropriate. He is the incoming president. He's a former president, and very soon he's going to be the current president. So I think, to me, it's a positive thing that President Trump is meeting with the Senate, that he's meeting with the House, that he's willing to have conversations with the Supreme Court. To me, that's what I look for in a president. I want to have more of that dialogue. And the more openness and the more transparency that we can have, I think the better it is for all Americans. I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people were frustrated with the Biden administration, just transparency. Let's just talk about these things. So I think it's very positive that President Trump and his team are having conversations across the board throughout all aspects of government.
Well, do you think Justice Alito needs to recuse himself from this Trump case right now?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, who knows what the conversation they had, but I doubt it was on something like that. There's so many things, so many.
There's a case about me before the Supreme Court. I'm a notoriously fucking manipulative person, and I just want to just have lunch with one of the fucking Supreme Court justices, actually. that need to be discussed, and I'm certain there's a lot of that. So I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez, thanks so much.
It doesn't really matter.
A few moments in joining us.
These people are just fucking, it's like whatever. They're ride or die. They're just ride or die. It's bad as fuck to be ride or die for anybody. Maybe your wife or your husband or your kids, for sure. You ride or die for your kids. Maybe certain sister, brother, maybe your favorite cousin, but not a politician or a celebrity politician or a guy who says has interesting thoughts on your faucet. Did you know that you buy a new faucet, fucking just no water comes out of it, and then you end up, well, here.
These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve.
Like fuck, like everything in my apartment is brand fucking new. Everything is brand fucking new. You know what comes out of the faucet? Water. You know how much? Plenty. You know what comes out of the shower head? Hot water. You know how much? Definitely enough to take a shower.
Areas that have so much water you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. And,
that's what they're doing up in heaven. That's what I figured. Heaven's like a fucking sweatshop where they create water to drop on fucking places.
They want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You take a shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It becomes weird.
What if I just want all the water?
We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it.
What do you mean you can have all the water you want? What the shit is this guy talking about? I live in like the most regulated place, and one of the places that's you people don't think of the Bay Area this way, but it's one of the places that is most likely to be impacted by drought in the country. And I mean, my shower's great. It's not even a fancy shower head or a fancy shower. My shower's great. My sink, best sink ever. It lets me wash the fucking dishes. There's enough water pressure. Never mind. Acting like I'm explaining this shit is just so fucking crazy. Because you would think right in Oakland here, one of the wokest, and the Bay Area, Alameda County, and just the Bay Area more broadly is a pretty regulated area. You'd think that if there was any place where the shower wouldn't put out enough water to take a shower, it'd be here. And friends, I took a shower before the show so that y'all can't smell me while I'm broadcasting, and it's great. Plenty of water pressure. Water was plenty hot. It was great. Anyway, the grift goes on.
Look closely at history in the making. Donald Trump has done it again. He was the 45th president of the United States. Now he is America's 47th president, only the second president in history to serve non-consecutive terms. So today, we announce this new Donald Trump $2 bill in color for just $19.95. Throughout his career, Donald Trump has always strived to be the best. He's become the most well-known public figure in the world. Now, as our 47th president, it is only fitting that he is honored on this magnificent commemorative $2 bill. National Collectors Mint has taken crisp, uncirculated U.S. legal tender $2 bills direct from sealed treasury packs. Then, our fine artisans precisely to commemorate this event, featuring...
Let's see this again.
Then, our fine artisans precisely to commemorate this event, featuring a full-color rendering of President Trump right alongside the White House with his name, presidential signature, and his famous rallying cry, "Make America Great Again," appearing prominently on the face of each bill. The final issue price was to be set at $39. However, during this special release, this full-color commemorative $2 bill can be yours for only $19.
How the fuck much could shipping and handling possibly be on a fucking $2 bill? They should include the stamp. Oh, wait, no, they're going to also sell you some fucking Trump stamps.
$19.95, protected by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Now you can reserve your
joke's on you. Your money back is, you have $2.
47th President Donald Trump $2 bill. There is a strict limit of 5 $2 bills per caller. Each full-color Trump $2 bill comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and a deluxe display portfolio. Reservations will be told on a first-come, first-served basis, so the earliest orders will receive priority status over later ones. Due to rising demand,
if you order it first, you get it first. It's a first-come, first-served thing, where if you order now, you get it sooner than if you order it in 2 weeks. Because right now we can fulfill your order, but if you don't order for 2 weeks, we won't even really know to fulfill your order.
Take advantage of this opportunity now while these Trump collectible $2 bills are still available. But you must hurry. Don't delay. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Reserve yours today.
You're on your fucking deathbed. You're on your deathbed. You're talking to your son, your daughter, or whoever. And they're like, "What do you regret?" And they're like, there was this $2 bill that they fucking painted some ugly shit over. that I could have bought for fucking $20, paid another $8 to ship when all they really needed to do was use a stamp to send it. I just regret it. I just regret it so much. So we've been off. We were off last Sunday, so we didn't get to all the news. Here's Fox News falsely saying that the person who committed the terrorist attack in New Orleans had recently come across the border, because of course they're going to say that. There's no evidence that's the case. In fact, I think everything we know is that that's not the case, but that doesn't stop Fox.
David Spunt, he and our Grift Jenkins are able to report that the suspect drove a truck with a Texas license plate that came through Eagle Pass, Texas 2 days ago. David, what else do you know about this vehicle?
So we're hearing that the vehicle was traced to coming across from Mexico into the United States at Eagle Pass, Texas. Oh, no. 2 days ago. To be clear, we don't 100% know that this man, and we do know the suspect is a man, was the person driving that crossed the border. That is unclear at this point. We just know that the actual license plate was picked up by...
No, none of this is correct.
Crossing. This is per 2 federal law enforcement sources. And the other thing that's not entirely clear right now is the status, the immigration status of this driver. We have heard, though, from President-elect...
Dumbass motherfuckers.
...in here in just a few weeks. He put out a statement that says, quote, "When I said the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country," that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our hearts are with all of the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this pure act of evil.
Yes, we get some breaking news right now into our newsroom. I want to alert our viewers. Our sources now tell Fox that truck from Eagle Pass, Texas, did not cross 2 days ago. It on November 16th. And the identification of the driver that crossed the border does not appear to be the shooter. We will get more clarification, we expect, Molly, in just 4 or 5 minutes from investigators on the ground.
Oh, friends. Oh, that's great. That's great. I don't know. They didn't have to run the correction. I don't know whose fucking idea that was. People are like, oh, the liberals got to Fox. They're covering up the truth. Up next, we got a fucking apartheid Clyde been talking about
whether the United States should overthrow the government.
Been lying about, I guess, grooming gangs in the UK. And here's Kara Swisher on Anderson Cooper to talk about that. Fuck.
Online followers whether the United States should overthrow the government of one of this country's oldest, closest allies. Here's the proposition he posted on his social network. Yes or no, it reads,
I mean, to be completely fair, they weren't always our ally. We did have to overthrow their rule here once.
It should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. For days now, he's been drudging up a decade-old scandal over years of child sex abuse by gangs of men in a town in the north of England. In a 2014 report, it was found that about 1,400 kids had been abused by gangs of men in the northern English town of Rotherham, beginning in 1997, lasting more than a decade. Today, Keir Starmer, the British...
Wait a minute. What's the fucking... It's fucked up, but what's like the baseline rate of that crime? Like per year? People do bad shit all the time, right? So is that just like a little bit above the baseline? Because it was like 1,400. You're like, fuck. And then you're like, oh, across 10 years? You're like, how many people live there?
Responded by suggesting that Musk was, quote, spreading lies and misinformation. Britain's leader of the Liberal Democratic Party said that the American ambassador should be summoned to explain, in his words, why an incoming U.S. official is suggesting the UK government should be overthrown. Joining me now is CNN contributor Kara Swisher, who's covered and interviewed Musk for years, also hosts the podcast On and Pivot, and author, most recently, of the great book, Burn Book, A Tech Love Story. What is Elon Musk doing here?
I guess he's being Patrick Henry of Britain. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. I mean, he's making trouble anywhere, and I think he's emboldened by his success here in the United States. And his fortune has doubled, which is an incredible
The investment he made, which a lot of people are like, oh my God,
million.
$250 million is a lot of money. Obviously,
it's not.
He has That's
doubled.
the greatest investment he's made.
That's a 10x. It's a 10x or a 10 bagger, they call it. He made $250 billion from that. His wealth has doubled, and he's
and
now
that's from his stocks going at like the
Tesla and some others. Even though the results at Tesla weren't so good recently.
But people, I guess, investors believe he's so now linked to the Trump.
That's correct.
He's going to be getting government contracts,
Presumably.
especially for space.
Yeah, I think the idea is this is not a stock. This isn't a reflection of Tesla's business. It's a reflection of Elon Musk's business, and so he's taking his show on the road. That's really what he's doing. And so he's meddling and putting out misinformation and doing all kinds of things that he's done here and seeing if the same tricks work elsewhere. And they often do, actually.
There were certainly some Democrats who were hoping that, the president-elect will tire of him.
Yes.
And that relationship will sour. What do you...
There's some Republicans hoping that, too, by the way. I interviewed Maggie Haberman today, who's covered him. And, he's living in a cottage there at Mar-a-Lago. I think it's the Banyan Cottage or something like that. And I think a lot of people feel it might change
that cottage smell crazy.
to the White House when it's harder to get in. Question whether he has an office in the West Wing, whether he has.
This guy could do anything. Imagine having that kind of fucking money and you could just do anything. And he's like, I'm going to hang out with fucking Kid Rock and Donald Trump.
Building, whether he gets these famous passes, I think they're the green or the blue pass that you get on the campus pretty easily, the White House campus. And so the question of how does he thrive within a White House Trump administration? And I do know I've been called by a lot of Trump officials who are they essentially say, well, you were right about Musk. And I'm like, and they're like, what do we do? And I say, good luck. Good luck controlling him.
There's got to be a lot of, I don't know what the emotions of the other tech billionaires must be. I mean, Jeff Bezos,
Well, you've seen what they're doing.
They've all obviously gone down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I call it
I don't give a fuck.
servitude. Like they've got not just going to Mar-a-Lago, but Amazon just decided to do a very positive Melania Trump documentary. Today,
Brett Ratner is involved.
Which is an interesting choice. And then today, Mark Zuckerberg put Dana White on the board of Meta. Now he's an MMA fan, so that may be that, but he's a very close Trump supporter. I think they're all doing various and sundry things they can do to kiss up to Trump.
I mean, Jeff Bezos, space, Blue Origin, his space company, is something he cares a lot about.
Very much.
That was his post-Amazon plan to really, I know he's doing a lot at Amazon now on AI.
Yeah.
But obviously with Elon Musk, I mean, they are competitors in this.
Absolutely.
And that's got to be a big blow to that business.
Well, he wants to be part of that. People don't realize this. When Jeff, I think he was the valedictorian of his high school, his speech was on space. He loves space. And so he wants
good, send him there.
And Elon is directly in his way and will advantage. Anything Elon wants to do, he will probably be first in line. And so a lot of these other moguls are like, how do I get a piece? How do I get a piece of this? How do I get that? And TikTok, what's going to happen to TikTok and things like that. And so Trump will have a lot of sway over that. And therefore, they all want to get in there. And in order to do that, you have to pay essentially a vig.
You said something worse to the effect like Musk's toxic noise is the point. With Musk, toxic noise is the point.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's his brand now?
No, it's just he creates all kinds of, it's sort of the flood the zone thing that Steve Bannon kind of perfected. You flood the zone with misinformation, and there's a little bit of real information in there, or discontent. People in Britain are worried about this topic. And then you make it a mess, and then you say something so outrageous that people then respond, and then they're on your agenda and not vice versa. So today, all the European leaders obviously coordinating. It felt like a coordinated effort. We're trying to push back on him, but now he's the story, which is how Elon Musk likes it. He's an attention spike.
Is there a business reason to get involved in British politics or politics in Europe?
It's about control. Yeah, if he can have control, get rid of regulation. I think that's part of the thing. And I think he just likes it now. This is what amuses him. He's obviously not paying attention to Tesla.
Well,
they have better models.
Is he running? I mean, how can he be running all these companies? He's not.
He's not. No, there's a very good executive at SpaceX. There's executives at Tesla. And by the way, Tesla's falling behind BYD and other things in terms of innovation and new products. And that's why its sales are off for the first time. Its global sales are down. So he's not paying attention to the other companies. AI is a big interest of his, obviously, and he's doing that by suing OpenAI. And
is he trying to destroy OpenAI?
Yes, because he created it, and they moved on without him, and Elon Musk will not put up with.
Yeah, you've done fascinating interviews with Sam Altman.
Yeah, he's a fascinating
Yeah,
person. I think OpenAI is way ahead, and that's the problem. Anything to slow competitors down. I mean, everyone thinks of Elon as an entrepreneur, and he is in a way, but he's a better business person than anything else. He didn't create Tesla, for example, or some of the other things. He just is a good business person, like a sort of like a Henry Ford character. And I think
exactly like a Henry Ford character. There's people that think he's like Henry Ford, and then there's other people who think he's like Henry Ford.
what's interesting about it is he uses lawsuits, he uses noise, he uses attacks, personal attacks, he uses his now Twitter, he uses that, or X, whatever you want to call it. He uses all his tools to do these things, and they're often the same. They're all to create noise and attention on him, because really the stock reflects Elon Musk all the time.
He's got a lot of levers to pull now, more than
he does now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Patricia, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Always great to talk to you.
So I'm really wondering this thing about the grooming gangs. If it was over like 10 years, like I just wonder, was like, what were the previous 10 years like? What was the rate of increase? Was the rate of increase in line with the rate of population increase? Like this kind of stuff that, there's always details that are left out. Now, obviously, we're clearly not in favor of fucking grooming gangs or like hurting children or whatever, but time for you to fucking have your spidey sense go up or whatever. As soon as people start talking about saving the children or, oh, people are hurting the kids or whatever, we know, we go back to when I was a kid during the Satanic Panic. It was all about saving the children, and didn't save no children. In fact, fucking took people's eyes off the ball and caused people who were doing real harm to the people in their community to go free because they didn't look like a fucking goth. That's probably some of what's at play here. Up next, we got Mehdi Hassan on the Piers Morgan show, talking about very much the same issue.
You've just tried to suggest that more white men were doing it than British Pakistani men. Bit of a surprise.
Didn't. The Home Office
bit of a surprise, I would think, to everyone you've just named.
That's the Home Office report.
Who've done the report. Okay, so how many white men involved in this rape gang scandal?
That's the Home Office research, Piers. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Hang on. How many white men have been taken to court, charged and or convicted of raping these white girls in these 50 towns and villages? Just for the record.
Okay. All right, I don't have the full numbers, but let me give you some examples. In 2023 in Glasgow,
what
there were
percentage?
7 years of child
Give me
sex
a
crimes
percentage.
prosecuted. Piers, we don't have the percentages. That's the whole point.
We know that the very vast majority are actually British Pakistanis.
So hold on.
You're trying to deflect it into thinking it's somehow white men doing all this.
Oh my God. So in Glasgow, there were white men. So 11 people abused 3 children, one of them in a nappy diaper.
I'm not talking
white
about
gang.
Glasgow.
You're not talking about that, nor is Elon Musk. In the West Midlands, a decade of child sex crimes. 21 white people abused 7 children, all of them under the age of 12.
Right.
In Cornwall, in 2010,
these
3
aren't
years
the
of sex
scandals
crimes.
we're
You're not
talking
going to cut me off
about,
when I talk
Mehdi.
about sex crime. 6 men. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. 6 men abused 30 girls, the youngest of whom was 5 years old. And you've just made my point for me. These are the scandals we're not talking about. Why? Why are we defining child sex crimes and grooming gangs by race, unless you're a racist or trying to make political hay out of this? I care about the victims of all crimes. I don't give a damn whether the perpetrator was brown, black, white, blue, or yellow. I think we should support the victims of those crimes. And if you're only obsessed with the perpetrators, as Elon Musk is, as Robert Jenner is, then you don't actually care about these girls.
Fuck yeah. That's what I say all the time. That's what I was saying to the Q people too. And to some extent, like, remember the QAnon people who were like, oh, there's the tunnel children and shit. And I was like, well, it seems to me like you want this to be true, right? You want this thing to be bigger than it is because it like supports your agenda. And if you ask me, that makes you way sicker than I am if I'm just skeptical of what's going on here. Now up next, crazy enough, we just did a Kara Swisher. We got her co-host from Pivot, Scott Galloway, who I really generally don't like. But he's on an MSNBC panel, and he's going to kind of come at some important issue in a way from the top rope, if we're being honest here. Check this out. I never fucking expected this.
Once you get above a certain level of wealth, you get no incremental happiness. So why on earth
would you not go back to a tax policy of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where say above, pick a big number, 10 million, you actually pay more than 10%, maybe more than 20%, maybe more than 50%, because the difference between 30,000 a year for a household and 50,000 is enormous to the well-being of that household. Low-income kids in low-income households have higher resting blood pressure, but the difference between making 10 million a year and 15 million a year offers you no happiness. But these individuals have weaponized government, and we risk revolution, whether it's CEOs being murdered in the street, whether it's a Me Too movement that had righteous components of it, or Black Lives Matter. What are these movements? They are targeting the wealthy. We are in the midst of a series of small revolutions to correct income inequality. And the reason we put an insurrectionist and a rapist in office is because for the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. Why? Because the majority of households are having the oxygen sucked out of the room, such that a small number of individuals and a small number of companies can be worth more than nation states. Income inequality is out of control. Our tax policy has gone full oligarch.
Fucking Scott Galloway showing us a little something there, because he's usually, although I didn't like how he sort of hedged about the Me Too movement. He's like, some of that was true. But other than that, like, that's not what I fucking expected from Scott Galloway this week. I didn't expect him to go on there and be like, I don't know, maybe somebody just got to fucking shoot you. Because that's sort of what he said. He did a little fuck around and find out, which is pretty amazing, actually, because that guy is usually on the side of the fucking oligarchs. Up next, there was and I sort of followed this a little bit. There's like a toll basically being charged to get into to parts of Manhattan when the traffic gets to a certain level, a certain density. And this is a news reporter went out and was talking to people in cars, and then apparently a pedestrian was like, hey, you want to talk to a pedestrian about this? So this pedestrian out of New York City, fucking king.
Well, as you said, I've been talking to drivers all morning long as congestion pricing is in full swing. Whether you're for it or against it, one thing that I'm hearing everyone say, at some point you're going to have to pay up. I want you all to take a live look at those gantries that are up and working and are ticketing drivers right now. And as we are in the peak hours, that means that these gantries are tolling drivers $9. Now let's take a pause for a second. It was a long road for congestion pricing to finally see a clear runway, as there was a battle to get this program up and running. Its purpose to reduce traffic in this packed city and to help restore the infrastructure to mass transit. Now, opponents of congestion pricing say it's another money grab. Drivers of most passenger cars will pay $9 during peak hours to enter Manhattan south of Central Park, and for off hours, the toll will be $2.25 7 days a week. Let's take a listen to drivers as they face their first rush hour as this tolling program saw its first test.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Finally, drivers are going to have to pay their fair share for the congestion they cause in our neighborhood, for the pollution they cause in our neighborhood, for the noise they cause.
Look at, they skipped the part where they talk to the drivers and went right to our king here.
And for the traffic violence they cause in our neighborhood. So it's $9. I think it's the price you got to pay. Take the subway if you don't like it.
It's not great for me as a commuter. It might be good for the city, but
she's reasonable.
I'm gonna have to just take a different way. It affects everyone's lifestyle.
He seems all right too. He's like, I don't know, we could go somewhere else.
I have to park a couple blocks up and walk. So, it's the roads were a little clearer, but I don't think it's worth it.
It's terrible for everybody. If you can't make your subway or bus budget, figure out a budgetary way to do it. But don't.
That's what they're doing. They're taxing you for driving to a place where you could very easily just take the fucking subway.
Congestion tax, it just doesn't work for working class folks that are coming into the city, et cetera, so it's terrible.
Working class folks, take the subway, friend. These people are fucking bridge and tunnel, right? Like all these people are from outside the city. People who live in the New York City, even the rich people don't fucking drive.
Not thrilled. I drive to work a couple days a week, and it's going to get expensive, or I'm just going to have to find another way.
You mean like the subway, like the fucking one of the best mass transit systems on the planet?
A lot of reaction, and you're taking a live look at those gantries now ticketing drivers here on the Upper West Side.
They're not getting a ticket; they're paying a toll. They're framing this like they're getting like a ticket, like they're getting like, no, this is a toll.
It's a reality. There are several lawsuits still on the table aimed at blocking this tolling program. We also do know that President-elect Trump has vowed to try to block congestion pricing when he assumes office. We're live on the Upper West Side this morning. I'm Phil Tate, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Oh, you know how you're going to get New Yorkers to be okay with this toll is for Donald Trump to fucking try to stop it. Ain't nobody in the world hate Donald Trump like a fucking New Yorker, dude. Doesn't matter what your politics are. Ain't nobody in the world hate Donald Trump like a New Yorker. So this was proposed in San Francisco, and a long time ago, Jello Biafra ran for mayor of San Francisco. It was kind of a joke campaign, but one of his things was just no cars on Market Street. Just straight up, you just can't drive on Market Street. And this has been proposed for San Francisco, and the traffic in San Francisco isn't as bad as New York, but I don't see why more cities wouldn't do this. Public transit in San Francisco is fantastic. Not as good as New York, but it's still pretty fantastic. This is only going to be happening in places where transit is pretty good. I could see Portland. Portland has the max. I could see that Portland doing this, and that people just don't have an excuse. If you want to get into the city, and if you want to get in the city, you can park your car at BART. If friends want to go to the city, I live across the bay in Oakland. Well, kind of an okay part of town where your car might not get broken into. Park your car here and go to BART, go to the city. This is all fine, man. I like the one guy who was like, I don't know, I'll just park a few blocks over that way and walk. He's like, it ain't great, but whatever. And so yeah, I'm just fucking, one lady was like, I don't know, I'll figure something else out. And of course, the fucking old white dude was like, this is a fucking tragedy. Why are they doing this? Well, they're doing it to fund the subway, you stupid fuck. Public transit historically in this country has been, we pay fare to get on, but that doesn't really cover transit. It's historically been funded by taxes on motor vehicles. So I don't know what these people are talking about. Anyway, this is from a Springfield City Commission meeting. And that guy and the pedestrian and that was our king, and this gal, Sheriff Queen.
I was born in Springfield and I've lived here most of my life. I can't believe.
Hold on, let me start this over. I'm gonna have to really crank this, huh? Here we go.
I was born in Springfield and I've lived here most of my life. I can't believe these Haitian immigrants would come here and fill jobs that local Springfield residents would not or could not do. And now they've raised the average city wage for both Springfield and Clark County. They're paying income tax to the city that the city desperately needs for services. They're making some of the local losers look bad by their example. It's unbelievable. The Haitian immigrants are working overtime to save up money to buy up all the dilapidated, condemned, and boarded up homes in Springfield, then fixing those houses up to make them livable again. This is raising property values across the city and county to the point where the valuation of all real estate in the city surpassed $1 billion last year for the first time ever. This in turn increases the property taxes paid to Clark County for those homes that are now no longer boarded up nuisances. I can't believe they're helping to fund our government and beautify our neighborhoods. These Haitian immigrants are now spending money in our community to where new restaurants and retail spaces keep opening up across the city. What absolute madness. Now we have new businesses in town generating more tax revenue for our city and county. I have a good paying job with great benefit, but because I have main character syndrome and the entire world should revolve around me, I want the exorbitant benefits that some of these Haitian immigrants get, which is $292 for SNAP, aka food stamps, and $363 in cash per month for a single adult. Everyone knows that $655 per month lets you live like a millionaire in Springfield. I don't need it, but I want it before anyone else, because why should we help folks who have legally come to our country, but they have to wait for their work permit so they don't starve? Feeding the hungry in our community? This is lunacy.
Fucking queen, fucking goddamn, love her. Yeah, this is what happens. Like people don't ever like want to accept this, that like when a bunch of new people settle in a community, at first sometimes it's hard, but then those people fucking become part of your community and they open businesses, they go to work, they fucking, their kids go to school with your kids, they fucking join the PTA, and they just become your fucking neighbors. And then fucking 20-30 years out, you fucking like that, it's just like they've always been there because it's just a border. They just are like in your town. Well, their town, everybody's town. So like, this is all fine. I like her. She was like, how dare they? And she was like, I should get it first, even though I don't need it. Love her. Up next, I believe Allie Drew put this in the Discord. This is our palate cleanser.
officer. I'll get up at 3 a.m. and post a picture of an ice bath to my social media story. I won't actually get in, but it looks #beast. I'll get dressed and put a t-shirt on that has an authoritative message or slogan on to let people know I'm tactical as fuck and I'm a proper alpha, as well as some tactical trousers with extra pockets of crayons if I find some. I'll message my firearms buddies to make sure we aren't all wearing the same Through Dark t-shirt. I'll then make a coffee from a tactical coffee company, as I don't drink generic brands as they're not tactical enough for me. I'll then spend an hour on social media slating poor tactics and trigger discipline. I'll sometimes comment if it really winds me up. On this particular day, I went online to order some new crayons as I'd eaten my last packet. Whilst on Amazon looking for a crayon subscription, I found myself looking at tactical caps on the Through Dark website, but I didn't fancy paying 50 quid for a cap, so I added it to my birthday list. I'll then drink some pre-workout and some more coffee and head to the gym. I'll meet up with my other firearms buddies and we'll do an hour of biceps, an hour of triceps, and an hour of taking cool pictures to post to our social media accounts. I'll then realise that I've wasted around 5 hours and have to rush to get to work. Bye.
Very tactical. That guy's funny. And ooh, a little bit of a smoke show too. A little bit of a smoke show. Up next, this is You Made Me Act This Way. This is Shane Vaughn. He is a MAGA prophet. We've covered him a little bit on the show. He's generally pretty boring, but I found this and I was like, well, if I made him act the way he's acting, then that's fine.
We would never be this defensive of Donald Trump if you would not have forced us into this cult mentality.
You made me act like this. This is like somehow like the mirror image of why are you hitting yourself, right?
A fight for Donald Trump. Why? We believe in justice. And when we see a man that God's put his hand on being attacked night and day, you are forcing us to look like a cult. We're patient and steadfast in our support of a single man. We are cult followers. Yes, we follow a man. Yes, we do. We drank the Kool-Aid and it's orange.
All right, dude. He's like, well, you made me do this. But I mean, if all it takes to turn somebody into a maniac is to make fun of a politician, then I don't know. I guess it's time everybody could just be a maniac now, right? Up next, we're not covering much about the fires in Los Angeles because the news space around it's pretty bad, and most of what we're going to be covering on that is going to end up on the conspiracy bingo docket because, as you could imagine, there's some stuff. There's some fucking stuff. But I did decide that we were going to do this one tonight, and in case you didn't know, this is a sign of the fucking end times.
Okay, these LA fires, this is like end of time shit, right? Biblical fires coming down, Jesus will follow. Like, does anybody else think this, or
no, but I like your glasses.
Being paranoid, because I'm pretty sure I remember something about like fires will rain. California is like one of, if not the most sinful state in the country.
I mean, we have the most people. So if you believe in sin, just playing a numbers game here, we're going to have the most sin
happening here. What do you think?
Although Sin City is in Nevada. Fucking dumb fucks. God damn, every time anything bad happens, somebody's like, it's Jesus taking retribution. Nah, dude, it's a fucking fire. Fire doesn't know nothing about your God. Doesn't know shit. Doesn't know shit about anything. It doesn't know shit. It's a fire. But up next, everybody, you know what's really fucked up is that did you know that we let women wear pants?
There is a fad trying to come among our holiness people to allow girls to wear what they call leggings. They come below the knee and they can even extend down to the ankle.
Wait, that's the part that you like.
Sometimes, or most of the times, the ladies or women, girls that I see in our holiness movement that are starting to introduce those, they still wear them below their skirt. But they come out the bottom of the skirt and go somewhere down in the calf or the ankle. They are leggings. When you begin to investigate on those, this is the definition of what they are. They are tight-fitting stretch pants, or they are close-fitting knit pants. That's what the world calls them.
Yes.
And yet we as holiness people that know that a woman is not supposed to wear pants, now we are allowing that to creep in. And we're going to be faced with this issue. Is it right or is it wrong? But he said it is wrong to wear that which pertaineth to a man. It is wrong according to the word of God. There is a fad trying to come among us.
So this is from Facebook Reels, so it started itself over. Friends, are you a whore if you cover your knees with leggings? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, man. This next one, this is some more Christian batshittery. This one's only 19 seconds, and I'm not sure what the plan is here, but I'd like to watch it because this looks. I'm gonna be honest. This looks fucking amazing. Whatever that is, we got to find out what the fuck that is, and we got to check that the fuck out, everybody. I think I should go to whatever that is. You all should pay me to go to whatever the fuck that is. I'll be doing a journalism there, and not just like thirsting over the Mr. Beefcake there. And now we got. Usually, back in the day, Matt Gaetz would be near the beginning of the docket because he was a member of Congress. Well, now he's near the end of the docket because he's hucking ivermectin now.
Medical freedom is important. You've probably heard about ivermectin, the medication that has been making the waves for years and helping so many during COVID. But let's be honest, finding a reliable source to get it, that's not as easy as it should be. That's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're making it simple and straightforward to get ivermectin. Their ivermectin is made right here in the USA, not imported from India or China. It's high quality, American made, and backed by a pharmacy that takes care of everything. Here's the reality. Your freedom to choose your own health care matters. Leaders like RFK Jr. have been outspoken about the importance of medical freedom, and he's right. The system is making it harder to access medications that could save lives, and we've seen how quickly access to vital medications can be restricted. So don't wait for someone else to decide what's best for you and your family. All Family Pharmacy will handle both the prescription and the medication and ship it right to your door. It's easy, reliable, it's healthcare you can count on. And that's not all. They offer over 200 medications, so whether it's ivermectin or something else you need, they've got you covered. Now's time to...
No, it's something you want. It's like a almost like a vice signal, like having this stuff now.
Healthy again? It's better to be prepared right now than to regret it later. Visit allfamilypharma.com/Matt and stock up now while you still can. Don't forget to use
stock up on ivermectin
to get 10% off your order. That's allfamilypharma.com/Matt with coupon MATT10 for 10% off.
You should have kept your job in in Congress. I don't know. Maybe he's getting paid more. Talking like gullible people into buying like a medication. By the way, produced by Big Pharma that they don't need is big business there. I bet this whatever company. I bet they don't make it, right? They just like buy it from fucking Pfizer and put their own goddamn label on it. We're not fucking manufacturing ivermectin. Get the fuck out of here. Everybody, did you know that Mark Zuckerberg has become masculine and patriotic?
I think a lot of this has to do with Zuckerberg. I mean, some people are going to like the way I say this, becoming more masculine. I mean, I literally believe something has changed with that guy from a testosterone level when he started getting in to jiu-jitsu and hand-to-hand combat, and he became more masculine, and I think became...
he dresses like his rap album in 1997 sucks.
more willing to be pro-American and actually stand up for some of those things. So I know some people may discount that. I think if you talk to a guy like Rogan that has talked to him multiple times, she'd probably tell you the same thing.
Oh my fucking God. Oh man, this is things are getting weird. Things are getting weird real fast in 2025. Here's a message from the more masculine Mark Zuckerworth, or whatever his name is.
Yo, what is good, family? You may have noticed that Meta announced some changes to Facebook yesterday as a result of Donald Trump's victory in the election. First off, we're getting rid of our fact checkers, like permanently. We'll be relying on the community for fact checking. So if you're a future domestic terrorist or a closeted neo-Nazi, we want you chiming in on everything. You don't like it? Well, you can always go to Instagram. Oh wait, we own that too. In the coming months, we'll also be rolling out some new tools that nobody asked for and will certainly make the world worse. For example, we're unleashing the power of AI to poison the brains of all your older relatives. Sadly, some of your uncles still have a grip on reality, and we're working to change that. More new rules. All users have automatically been added to the Asians for Trump Facebook group, because why not? A Blue Lives Matter flag will be added to all of your profile pictures, and no, you can't remove that. This one's feel like this one. We're sending all of our new users raw milk, not even in jars. We're doing it in envelopes. I'm not going to say out loud child pornographers welcome, but do the math. This one just says no more Venezuelans. But I guess that's happening. We are done infringing on your freedom of speech. Unless Trump changes his mind, and then we'll do that. Please know, our mission hasn't changed. We're making these changes because we believe wholeheartedly in accumulating as much money and power as possible. If you're concerned about these changes, we understand and we care. So send us an email with your suggestions at noonegivesashit@facebook.com. You're
fucking, I mean, it's kind of true. So we got a clip of Mel Gibson went on the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. This is, Mel Gibson is fucking still not okay. Just so in case anybody who needed to check in on old Mel, things are still not okay in this guy's brain.
I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer.
I have 3 friends. I'm shocked that the man still had 3 friends.
All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
Jesus. They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin. Fenbendazole. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that.
Does he mean bleach?
Now, where people have proven that
people drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
This stuff works, man.
There's a lot of stuff that does work, which is very strange because, again, it's profit. When you hear about things that are demonized and that turn out to be effective, you always wonder, well, what is going on here? How is our medical institutions, how have they failed us so that things that do cure you are not promoted because they're not profitable?
Oh no, somebody making money on whatever the fuck the blue shit this guy was talking about is, right? Oh, no. There's somebody making money on this stuff. And I think that Mel Gibson said that they were drinking like bleach. I'm pretty sure he said that they were drinking bleach. Up next, here's Don Jr. Here's Don Jr. I mean, he's lied before, but this is way out there.
Donald, I'm a little disappointed. I saw a video of you possibly doing drugs. I was appalled and disgusted. I saw it on X. Was it a real video? I find men who do drugs to be weak. Yeah. I have a feeling that if I was Hunter Biden, if I was doing drugs, and if I was videoing it, it would probably be a big deal. I imagine you'd actually see this. I understand that according to the left,
unlike you, Hunter Biden's like, yeah, that was me doing coke off of that sex worker's back, and I tipped her well too,
or whatever it is. Since ever, they don't really look to their own. It's typical Democrat projection. But I think I know the video you're talking about because I was adjusting an Alp pouch, like a Zyn. I was adjusting a Zyn in my mouth. I'm literally standing next to my father and Elon Musk in front of TV cameras. So just to be clear, not doing coke. Okay, that's not my thing. Never has been. Contrary to popular belief and internet lore and Democrat histrionics, it's not my thing. And I'm
histrionics.
A big drug user.
I think you probably think histrionics just means a wrong version of history.
You'd probably hear about it, folks. You'd probably definitely hear about it before everyone else. So that video is me literally going like that, adjusting a Zyn pouch that slipped out of my lip. I do that. Sorry, not perfect. I think, in the latter stages of a campaign and all of that, and with all the craziness of there, I get by on adrenaline, testosterone, caffeine, and some nicotine. So that's about the extent of it, but I'm happy to address it.
This is probably one of the dumb motherfuckers that started doing Zen pouches and they weren't doing it to quit smoking. Oh no. We're getting close. We're getting close to red light here, folks. We're getting close to red light. Here, you'll love to see it. Here's Hulk Hogan being booed at a WWE Raw.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know something, maniacs? I've been in this business for over 40 years, and the greatest part of my life was being part of this great WWE, guys.
So people were like, oh, it's his politics. And it's like, no, he's an asshole. Like, he's like treated people, his colleagues and shit. He treated his colleagues like shit. And people who are fans of some of his colleagues don't like him because he treats his colleagues like shit. And some of it might be his politics because he's a chud. And some of those people might have been booing because there's a word on the street as he may be one of the followers of L. Ron Hubbard now. His wife certainly is. And they don't really let you marry somebody who isn't at least sympathetic to their fucking cause. So up next, we got these two clips are a little bit longer. But we got Piers Morgan of all people explaining to American internet ghouls who and what Tommy Robinson really is. First one he's going to explain it to is old Beef and Benzo's Geordie Pete.
My problem with Robinson being the so-called hero of this is that many people in America, and I'm not saying you're one of them, I'm sure you now know a lot more about him perhaps than you did before, but Robinson is not in prison right now for anything to do with the gang rape scandal. He's in prison because of this movie he made, this documentary, as he put it, as a journalist, which I don't think he is. He's someone who made a film after he was convicted in a court by a judge of being seriously defamatory to a young Syrian refugee boy who he tried to make out was the villain of a bullying incident that went viral because there was a clip, when in fact he was the victim. The judge made it crystal clear in his very extensive ruling, which I read at length last night. It's many, many pages. It's extremely detailed. It includes his analysis of all the witness statements, what the school have told him, all the documentary evidence, everything. There's no doubt that the judge's conclusion is that the victim was the victim, that the boy who did the bullying in the video that went viral, Bailey, who was befriended by Tommy Robinson, that he was also a victim in many ways of the firestorm that erupted after this story went viral. He also made it clear that Bailey had not had a racial motivation that he could establish against a Syrian refugee, which had been the original narrative that went out there. So it was very educational, this judgment, in many ways. He get into the bottom of what had happened. But he also made clear that the 5 witnesses which Robinson brought to court to try and support his his proposition that this Syrian refugee was the bad one of the two, that all of their evidence was lacking in credibility. In fact, he called it, he said some of them had clearly invented their testimony completely. And he was very scathing about the quality of the evidence of everyone that Robinson brought there. And in the end, he found Robinson guilty of defamation. He fined him £100,000 and I think £700,000 in legal costs. And he made it crystal clear to him, do not repeat these lies about this Syrian refugee boy, Jamal, again. And all that Robinson did was go away and repeat them to absolutely everyone, including in this film, to wide audiences. And they are ultimately lies, as proven in a very forensic and extensive court case held by a very eminent judge. So my problem with Robinson is that he's trying to portray himself as this great martyr who's been, had lawfare put against him by the British establishment to silence him, when in fact it was his refusal.
Look at Jordan Peterson. He's not used to being fucking told anything. And he didn't think that he was going to go on Piers Morgan and get told something. He's like, oh, usually this guy just nods along while I say crazy shit about trans people.
And to repeat lies about this young Syrian refugee boy, which is why he's in prison. Secondly, my problem with him, Jordan, if I'm honest, is I don't know how many Americans or people in America who've been following this, because I see all the stuff on social media, they just don't seem to understand that Robinson's criminal record is highly extensive and very unpleasant. So, for 20 years, he's been breaking the law. He attacked an off-duty police officer. He led a hooligan group of football thugs in a brawl involving 100 people. He headbutted a man in Blackburn. He used a false passport to get round the fact he had criminal convictions in the UK to get into America and was caught. He perpetrated mortgage fraud, over £160,000. He was then found in contempt of court twice for turning up at court cases involving people who had been accused of committing these heinous crimes of grooming and raping these girls, nearly wrecking the trials because he was saying defamatory things in public outside the courtroom. And then we come to the refugee story, in which he's now back in prison again. And he was found guilty of stalking a journalist and accusing her partner of being a paedophile. This is not a nice guy. This is a pretty repellent human being who also simultaneously has been right to bang on for many years about the scandal of the rape gangs. So, yes, he's complicated, but at the heart of it is somebody who I think also, just finally on the point of Robinson, 2 points I'd make. One, I think he's done this, he's monetized his hatred of Islam. It has warped, in my view, all his so-called journalism, activism, whatever he wants to call it, because it's always skewed against Muslims. It's never fair and balanced.
Even Piers Morgan, imagine you go on there and Piers Morgan has to explain to you why someone is a bigot and that's why you can't trust them.
Way. And I think that's what tipped him over the edge with this story of this boy at the school. And, on that,
Jordan looks like he's being grounded.
Bully was actually kicked out of the school before this ever got made public by the media. So they'd already had their own investigation, concluded he was guilty not just of that, but a litany of other similar offences. So he was thrown out. So that's where I sit with Robinson.
Yeah, well, I've been following the rape gang scandal for, I would say, 15 years, but the primary source of information for me in Canada has been Tommy Robinson.
Whoopsie.
And his insistence on pursuing this, come what may, was part of the reason that I looked into it. And I think that's probably the case for Elon Musk as well.
No, you didn't look into it at all. You sat there fucking with like 1,000-yard stare while like one of the worst people in the world, honestly, told you why Tommy Robinson is a piece of shit. Like, when we don't use the person who is convicted of crimes as the only source, essentially, for the information as to why they were convicted of crimes, because they, even if they're trying to tell the truth, right, they're going to be biased in their own self-interest. Wouldn't you be? setting Tommy Robinson aside for a second here. Yeah, you don't use this guy as a source because he fucking lies. He was like, he's in jail for lying. And I know the UK's laws around libel and defamation are kind of fucked up in some ways, and they're like weaponized, but I don't think that was the case here. I think those laws they did what they were intended to do. Or maybe what they weren't intended to do. Who knows? So up next, we got fucking, here's Piers Morgan again, explaining to like Tim Pool and some other ghoul what's up with Tommy Robinson, and Kara Swisher's on this panel, and she just looks fucking annoyed. I don't always love Kara Swisher, but I do love that she goes places, and sometimes she just looks fucking annoyed.
And whilst I like the fact he's let everyone come back on to X, I am concerned that he doesn't quite understand, or maybe he does but doesn't care, just how powerful his battering ram is when he tweets things like "Free Tommy Robinson," who is, to most people in my country, an extremely insidious individual who should absolutely not be freed right now.
Why should Tommy not be free?
Well, because he's not the Nelson Mandela freedom fighter that most people in America seem to think he is. He's a convicted football hooligan who beat up a policeman and got convicted of that. He was convicted of passport fraud, trying to get into America, convicted of mortgage fraud, convicted of 2 contempts of court where he nearly wrecked trials involving the rape gang suspects when they were on trial, nearly literally avoiding justice for the girls in those cases. He's now in prison, nothing to do with the rape gang scandal, but entirely to do with his defamatory conduct towards a 15-year-old Syrian refugee boy, who he first of all defamed, trying to make him the villain of a video where he'd been bullied. This ended up with the Syrian refugee boy suing him, winning £100,000 in damages and nearly £1 million in costs, and the judge telling Robinson, do not repeat these lies. And then he repeats all the lies in a movie that he produces as a so-called journalist, and he goes to prison for contempt of court, which he knows he's committing. So on every level, you can agree with his message about the rape gang scandal, where he's been right, like a lot of people, but you can also think he's about the most despicable messenger imaginable.
We don't believe you because for decades...
You don't believe me? What have I said that's wrong? Tim, just to be clear, which part of my rant is untrue?
So let me explain, not that I said you were wrong, but why we don't believe you.
But if you don't believe someone, I think it's necessary that you think they're wrong. Because if you think they're right, you would be inclined to believe them.
Because how long has it been going on in the UK? These grooming gangs were being covered up. As the Telegraph reported, it was covered up to present the image of successful multiculturalism, where fathers were being threatened with arrest. Then you come to me and you say all these things about Tommy Robinson. And I tell you this, maybe you're right. I have no idea. I'm not from the UK. I'm seeing this story that's been bubbling up for some time now about how your country allowed little girls to have their bodies to be, I can't even describe the things that came out in those transcripts.
It's despicable, yeah.
Even though we're uncensored. No, despicable is an understatement. It was torturous.
I agree with you.
Or government that.
But this is a whataboutism, right? This is a whataboutism.
Elon say something like, "This country is the government of this covering this up, the police covering this up."
He's right.
I'm sorry. And right. So when I see Tommy Robinson in the United States, and again, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm saying we don't believe that the attacks against Tommy are all entirely based on he's a bad guy who did bad things. You may be right. I don't know. I'm not from your country. What I see is your country
mortgage fraud. They don't
covered this up.
He got a fake passport to come to the United States. Like, that's kind of based if you're a spy, I suppose.
That were done to these little girls. I'm going to say it. They put a pump in the anus of a 12-year-old girl to expand it so multiple men could rape her. And your country covered that up and then told me Tommy was the bad guy. And so I'm just like, look, man.
I'm not the bad guy. He's a bad guy.
But when I heard that, I said the U.S. should be sanctioning the UK or doing whatever they can to remove all of those from power. I think they deserve prison for covering this up.
I think if you don't mind me saying, I think you're conflating two things, and that's my point. I totally agree with everything you've just said, But I also believe that there is a completely weird misunderstanding of who Tommy Robinson is and what he represents in America, because he's managed to position himself very cleverly as this kind of freedom fighter who's only in prison because he blew the whistle and all this stuff. So they've silenced him by putting him in prison. None of that is true.
Except you did silence everyone else, and I shouldn't say you, sorry, I apologize for that, but your government was actively covering this up. So it creates a plausible scenario when Tommy Robinson is locked up over and over again, and people are like, here's a guy calling out the grooming gangs the government is actively covering up, and now they're imprisoning him. By all means, I don't know about his trials or what happens in your country.
All I would ask him, look, you're a smart guy. All I would ask you...
No, he's not.
I just think it would be reasonable for me over here in the UK to say to all my American friends, just go and look at his criminal record, see what he was actually convicted of and why,
is it fake?
And draw your own conclusions. And then I would say, then I would say, go and look at the judge's verdict in the defamation case, where you'll see a very well. It's just worth. It's actually.
Tim, he said, go look at the verdict. Tim was like, nah.
20 minutes of your time. Because what you'll understand.
This is what Elon Musk wants you all to do. I'm sorry,
all right,
Tim. Like, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, is an expression they use in journalism.
The fact that they
I wish they would have. Oh man, I want to see more. Like, again, we don't always love Kara Swisher around here, but man, if anybody in the media could dress down Tim Pool, it would be Kara Swisher. Oh, fuck, man. Well, everybody, that's the podcast part of the show. If you're listening on the pod, you should definitely check out the live show sometime. It's fun. I promise. We're live 6 nights a week, most weeks here, so that may change a little bit going forward. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. If you don't want to do all that, you can get the whole show at eplex.store or echoplexmedia.com or patreon.com/Echoplex. So sign up at the $5 level or higher, and you'll get it emailed to you the day after it's recorded. And if you particularly want this one and you don't want to give me any money, just fucking email me. I will not actually keep an MP4 file from you over some $5. So if you're watching, listening live, stay put. I'm going to change the color of the lights in the room, change the content of my beverage, and we're going to come back with red light. We got some good stuff for red light, and we're going to check in on somebody we had previously fired, named Stu Peters, because everybody gets unfired. Everybody gets unfired at the end of the year, so it's just the way it goes. Them's the rules. I would say I didn't make the rules, but I did. See everybody in a few minutes.